How Marion Works, a podcast series dedicated to informing you of the inner workings in all areas of Marion government and public services. Thank you for listening. Welcome back to Season 1, Episode 13 of How Marion Works. I'm your host, Layla Price-Vodkin. Today's episode features the Code Enforcement Department, and our guests today are Chief Code Enforcement Officer Matt Moore and Code Enforcement Officer Shannon Fouse. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Now, this has to be quite a change from your day-to-day, so I'm happy to have you in the studio, and I hope that you have a good time. We're going to get started with a fun little icebreaker question, and I'm going to start with Matt. Are you superstitious?
To some point, I would say yeah.
Okay. So would you walk under a ladder?
No.
No, you would not.
No.
I wouldn't either. So we're watching the Pacers, right? And so they're doing really well. And by the time this airs, we will have known what the outcome is. But when you get to a point where you're watching sports, you feel like you need to go into another room if they're not doing well or if they're doing really well or something like that?
I'm actually not a sports fan.
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
I very rarely watch sports. So.
Okay. And then finally, since this is episode 13, are you kind of superstitious about the number 13?
Yeah, a little bit, especially on Friday the 13th. So.
Right. And that's interesting. We actually just had that this June. So Shannon, what about you? Are you superstitious? Yes or no?
My mama's from Louisiana, so definitely have some kind of superstition involved in my day-to-day thinking.
I want to hear about that here in a minute. But, okay, so would you walk under a ladder?
No.
No, okay. And then with sports, are you a sports fan first of all?
Yes.
Okay, would you kind of wear a certain shirt or leave the room or anything like that when things are happening or not happening?
Maybe if I placed a bet, I would, and my team is losing, yes, I'm going to leave the room.
Okay.
So yes.
That makes sense. And then what about the number 13?
No. That doesn't affect me at all.
Yeah, you could get lost and stuff like that, and then you're in this rabbit hole because I had to fly on that date one time, and I was like, that is not going to do me any good to worry about the fact that it's the 13th or whatever.
Yeah,
but some hotels don't have a 13th floor and things like that. I think that's very interesting. So to learn more about you both, we'll start with Shannon because... you said your mom's from Louisiana. We actually have a commonality because I have an aunt in Metairie, just outside New Orleans, and a lot of family in Lafayette. And what about you? Where were you born and raised, first of all?
I was born here in Marion, 46 years, my whole life, born and raised.
46 years. So where did you go to school? All your schools, name them.
Francis Locum, out on 30th Street, Jones Middle School, which was the best middle school that's no longer here.
Aww.
And then Marion High.
Okay. So after school, what were you interested in doing after high school?
After high school, I went to St. Francis University. I spent a couple years there. I came back.
Where is that?
In Fort Wayne.
Okay.
I came back here and did some Ivy Tech. And then I pretty much went into the workforce.
So what were you interested in at the time, or did it kind of basically were you prepared to have a job like this?
No, this was never a job I was planning on having. Yeah. I went for human services, which was kind of a broad spectrum of anything that had to do with interaction with people and stuff like that. So I guess it kind of falls into the same category because I deal with people on a day-to-day basis. You have to deal really well with people in what you do. And, you also have to have integrity and stand your ground, but you also have to deal really well with people. That's a good point. What kind of work were you doing prior to your city work? Before this, I ran a pressure washing and wood restoration business for 15 years.
Oh my! What was it called?
Fouce's Pressure Washing and Cleaning.
Nice. So is it now no longer, or
It's just more of a weekend thing now.
Oh, good. It's more of a a side hustle, and
Now
maybe,
it's a side hustle instead of my full-time job.
good deal. That's good. It's something that maybe is mindless and can hopefully provide some therapy when you're not, when you're pressure washing and things like that. It's kind of mindless, and hopefully that serves well for you.
Yeah, it does. It does. And in that, I still deal with the general public on a weekend basis. So it's
Yeah.
pretty much all a smooth road of dealing with the public.
So what year were you hired with the city?
In 24.
And so your exact title, did I get it right? The code enforcement officer?
Yes.
part? Okay. So how has it been working for the city so far, Shannon?
So far, so good. I enjoy it. I enjoy the people that I work with. And it's a job that I can't say that I dread coming to on
Nice.
every day. So
You always come across that you have a positive attitude, and that's definitely something that's needed in your role, to just go at every day with positivity if you can.
yeah,
I know it's hard sometimes.
yeah, it could be hard sometimes, but a lot of times the public kind of goes off of your attitude and your actions, and I guess having a positive attitude would, rub off on them, and It
Yes.
seems like that makes my days go that much easier.
That's a really good thing to note. Okay, Matt, I'm going to jump over to you, and let's just get started. Where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Marion.
Okay, and name all of your schools.
Lincoln Elementary, Justice Middle School, and Marion High School.
Okay, so what kind of work were you interested in after high school?
About the public service field.
I'm sorry, were you interested in going to college first, or just getting into the workforce?
No, I was never interested in going to college. I just wanted to start working.
So in public service, was there something that was jumping out at you at first?
I started off, got my EMT certification, my firefighting certification for volunteer. So
Oh, wow.
I did that for several years as volunteer and just, regular jobs throughout. So I did a few years out at the VA hospital, working on their psych ward out there.
And so were you an EMT?
Yeah, through the Grant County EMS.
Okay, nice.
Volunteer.
How long was that?
I did that for probably 10 years, I think. And then I kind of took a hiatus off that and let it drop. So
Yeah.
I'm back to doing it now over in Sweetser for Ambulance 12.
So you had to get recertified as an EMT?
No, I'm been thinking about going back, but I haven't. So right now I'm just a driver for the ambulance, and then
Oh, okay.
the deputy chief for the Pleasant Township Fire Department over there. So
Oh, wow. So how much time does that take up every week?
it depends on the call volume, really. It can be little to no time, or it can be, several hours a day. Just depends on how busy things are out in the county.
So you also have a side hustle.
I've got a couple, yeah.
Oh, what's the other one?
I am a member of the Sweetser Town Board, their town council over there. And I am a new member of their Reserve Police Department over there.
Oh,
So,
my goodness. That is a lot.
Yeah, there's quite a few things, just small things here and there. So
Well, it's all probably just tying together, just,
Pretty much.
civic
Public service,
duties.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I'm already learning so much about both of you and your background. And Matt, what year were you hired with the City of Marion?
I believe it was 21.
21.
Is that right after COVID?
Yes.
I hired in
So-
January 31st of, right after all that COVID stuff. So
And
we
I
were-
believe you were just promoted to Chief
Yes.
Code Enforcement Officer.
yeah, just a couple months ago. Yeah.
Does that also mean, congratulations, by the
Oh,
way?
thank you.
And so now in your new role, how is that differing from just being a code enforcement officer?
It doesn't really differ because I'm not out in the field as much because of having to be take calls and work in the office and stuff. But only thing different is you take more of the hatred sometimes from the community.
I see.
When they call in, I'm who they have to talk to or whatever. So
you're not in the field as much, which is kind of a trade-off because it's like you're not on the front lines, but you are eventually the person that they take out their anger.
Yeah, if there's a complaint or whatever, I'm usually the person that they end up talking to. So, but it's an interesting job.
So what are the responsibilities? Who wants to take this first? The responsibilities of code enforcement in general.
In general, it's to enforce the ordinances that the city council has passed throughout the years. So our main ones are trashy properties, overgrown weeds, abandoned vehicles. That's, I would say, our main three.
Yeah, those are very common.
Yeah, there's plenty others that people don't realize that are actually, ordinances that we could be enforcing, but these three really take up our time.
Since those are the three, can we break that down and talk about what it is that's being violated in each of those categories?
Sure. The weeds and grass, especially now that it's past June 1st, anything 9 inches or higher, the city can go in and mow now.
At any time, like 9 inches right away?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It was published in the paper beginning in March all the way through June, letting people know you've got to keep your grass mowed, or after June 1st, the city can come in and mow it and send you the bill for it. And
it's not any changes.
No.
Like nothing has changed.
No, it's been that way for years.
So that is something to definitely keep in mind, if you're getting ready to go on a trip or, you're a snowbird or I don't know.
Yeah.
Who are the common violators of that?
A lot of it's abandoned properties or vacant lots. We have a lot of those. But there are some people that live in their houses, either most of them, I don't know if they don't want to mow or if they don't have the means to mow it or whatever. But it seems like this year there's a lot more yards having to be mowed. Our inmate crews are out every day mowing anywhere between 70 to 120 lots a day.
I wonder why it seems like it's a lot more than previous years.
I don't know if it's just the fact that the grass is growing so fast and it's like we can't keep up, but there has been an increase in yards and complaints of people not mowing or keeping up their properties. So
you still have the same manpower?
Pretty much, yeah. We have 2 inmate work crews that work Monday through Friday, and they're usually mowing by 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, and they mow from about 7 to 1 every day, 1:30, 2 o'clock.
So that hasn't changed.
No, and they're our main source of trying to get these yards mowed because the previous years have hired contractors to kind of help out too, but there's no money for that. So it's the inmate work crews and the code enforcement guys. When we get a property that's too tall for the inmate work crews to mow, then one of us 4 will go out and actually mow it with a bush hog and get it hopefully looking a little bit better.
And then you send the bill to the property owner.
Yeah, to the property owner. Yeah.
Okay. Same way with, so cutting the grass, and then also the next common one would be the abandoned vehicle.
Yeah. Abandoned vehicles or vehicles that are parked in grass. City passed an ordinance several years ago that you cannot park in grass, whether it's a car, a trailer, RV, whatever it is. It has to be on an approved surface.
Why did they do that? Why did they change that ordinance a few years ago?
I would imagine it was before my time, but you get a lot of people that are shade tree mechanics and they work on cars for fun or whatever, and that's what the ordinance I think is meant to try to avoid is people having a bunch of cars in their yards.
Yeah, it doesn't look appealing. First of all,
especially if they're missing tires or they're all wrecked and. So I would imagine that was why, something like that was passed, but it affects the everyday person who only has one car. Let's say they park in their yard because there's no on-street parking or whatever. It's not allowed. So
right.
But I would imagine it was because of the number of people in town that have multiple cars in their yard.
I see. And then what was the third most common violation?
Trashy properties.
Trash and nuisance properties.
Yeah. And that's a big one because we have quite a few cases. Right now, I think we're probably over 35 cleanups that are waiting to be done. So that's a big problem.
So when you say you have a term cleanup in your department, that's different from our citywide cleanup. So what does that mean when you have to go out on a cleanup?
It's pretty much the same thing. We go out, we take our work crews out with us and our machines. We call the dumpster company. They come in, they drop off dumpsters, and we go in and we clear the property. Anything that's in violation goes into the dumpster and gets thrown away. So. And
then they get sent the bill for that as well?
They get sent the bill for that, yes.
Okay.
But it's not like we just show up out of the blue. I mean, there's a process to where we go out, we find it, we send them a notification letter saying, hey, you're in violation. You've got 10 days to either contact us or get it cleaned up. Mm-hmm. And after that, if it's not done, we go out, recheck it, send them a court notice saying it's not fixed. So, here's your court date. And 90% of the time, they don't even show up to their court date. So, and then after the court date, the judge will give us an actual legal order to enter the property and clean it up.
Wow. Yeah, the cycle just has to happen.
Yeah,
that process has to happen.
And that's not a part of the job that we enjoy because we don't like having to do that, especially when it comes to like towing people's cars and stuff. Mm-hmm. But, when you get a bright orange sticker on your window, don't ignore it. Call the number on there because, we can give a little bit of leeway if you just need time to get plates on it until you get paid or whatever. We're willing to work with you, but you can't just ignore the tag or peel it off and not do anything about it because we're going to come back.
It's not going to just go away.
No, and it may be 3 days or it may be 6 days, but I guarantee you we'll be back. And if it's still there, it's getting towed.
How Marion Works is sponsored by the City of Marion. This podcast covers the inner workings of city government to better serve you.
So the first thing is, okay, if you see it, then, you can follow instructions and this process could be over a lot quicker than what you would think.
Yes.
And we'd move on and you'd get the bill and pay it and be done.
Yeah.
But it's not a perfect world.
Oh, no.
Shannon, so Matt and his day-to-day, a lot of office work. Matt, you are also leading the work crew. Is that correct?
Yeah, the inmate work crew coordinator. Yeah.
Okay, so that's something else that you do from day to day, keeping that schedule and keeping those guys busy. But Shannon, you are one of how many people that help that are under the code enforcement department?
I'm one of four.
One of four, and including Matt,
including
correct?
Matt, yes.
Yeah, so really,
it's
boots on the ground are three of you.
Three of us.
And so your day-to-day is how do you go on these calls? In what order? How does that happen? What does that look like?
Well, my day-to-day is, first off, I check my work order, which comes in from the city app.
Okay.
For violations, anything that's in my district, I need to go check on, whether it's, trash violations, car violations. I get out there, I check, tag what needs to be tagged, enter into the system any kind of trash violations, and then from there on out, it's pretty much I just patrol my district until the end of the day, looking for other violations.
When you say your district, how is it broken down?
Marion is broken down into 6 districts.
Okay, and then you're in charge of like 2 districts?
I'm in charge. Yes, I'm in charge of District 1 and 2.
I see. Okay.
So we're all split up into 2 districts that we have to patrol.
That still sounds like a lot of ground.
Yeah, it's a lot of ground, but it can get covered. You have your areas that are usually worse off than others that, you kind of keep patrolling to try to keep it up. But some areas, neighborhood, they have, the neighborhood associations, they work to keep their neighborhoods up, and that's a big help to us, because if they come in and, they talk to their residents in their neighborhood, then they can get it cleaned up before we're contacted to come out and do violations.
That's very good that you brought that up, that can be a help, and that if you ever needed help, you can reach out to those neighborhood association presidents, and they can really help get the word out if there's something that could really help you, which we can get into more later. But do you ever have to show up with, help, depending on what the matter is, or do you feel comfortable just doing the day-to-day work on your own?
Me personally, I feel comfortable doing the day in, day out work by myself. I don't usually call for help to tag vehicles or trash violations or
do you when
whatever.
You have a person that's known to be irate, we used to call them frequent flyers.
Okay.
With dispatch. But seriously, I mean, if you have those types of, you kind of have this red flag before you go to a property, do you have that ability to bring someone with you, or you pretty?
I have the ability to call Matt or any of the other guys to come out and help, but I usually can deal with the public. I mean, regardless of what's going on, their attitude, once you explain everything to it, yes, you can get mad, but we done gave you the opportunity to fix this violation and you didn't take it. You really can't get mad at me. You can be mad all you want. But,
you have to explain. People do need to, you have to understand that people need to understand first. Yes. And maybe that is half the battle. And then they do. And then maybe I'm thinking that because I just hear about your job and how difficult it can be. So that's kind of why I was asking in that way, because I'm not sure how many calls of every day end up in a matter that's a little bit more heated.
For the most part, a lot of the violations and stuff you go out, let's say I go out on 20 violations today. Out of those 20 violations, I'm only going to deal with 2 or 3 people.
Okay.
Most of the people, they don't come out. They don't really say anything. You get a lot of people that will watch you from the window, and then they may call or they may do nothing. But, not every violation we go on, people come running out, screaming and cursing at us. So
yeah. Well, that's good. I'd love to get into any challenges that you guys are facing, so that maybe we can get a better idea of how this department is facing challenges. Matt, do you want to take that?
Right now, I'd say the biggest challenge is we have so much that needs to be done, but not enough money, I guess, to fund it. Of course, it'll always be that way, because you never know from year to year what you're going to have. We go to court, once a month now? We've got it down to twice a month.
You guys personally go to court once a month?
On trash violations and stuff like that.
Is that predictable? Every certain day of the month?
The first Monday of the month, and then the third Monday of the month.
Okay.
So you may go to court and have 15 cases, and you may get, out of those 15 cases, you may get 10 new cleanups. So in each cleanup, dumpsters run about $1,000 a piece. So it's not cheap.
These are those big 40-yard dumpsters?
Yeah.
$1,000 a piece?
Yeah. Usually, by the time you pay for the dumpster, and then you pay to have it emptied, because you have to pay per ton.
Because you're also paying for the labor.
Yeah, Jerry says it usually runs roughly about $1,000 a dumpster, and most of our cleanups are not just one dumpster cleanups.
Oh, really?
No, we just worked one last week on Bradford that took 3.
Oh my.
So
3 days, 3 dumpsters.
yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. So and that was, we've had them where we've had some that take 4 or 5. So
It's such a good service though.
It is.
I tell you what, just with, these citywide cleanups, but with those, I guess they were called blitzes at one point, where you'd go in and just focus on 1 or 2 houses.
And you would be surprised how many times on a lot of our cleanups, we have people stop and thank us for taking care of it. Granted, the person there hates that we're there and they don't like us at all. But when you have 5 or 6 neighbors stopping by and saying thank you, it makes it worth it. Because we don't like taking people's stuff. We don't like having to tow your car or throw your stuff away. But we've given you every opportunity to take care of it yourself before we get out there. So once we're out there, yes, it's got to be done, and it's going to get done.
And that's part of the mayor's agenda, is to clean up Marion, and this is just, we kind of take the bad end of the cleaning up Marion, but it has to be done.
It does.
Because we want a clean community.
That's right. Well, you guys have really covered a lot so far, and I'm gonna take a real quick break to just tell you guys to stay connected by following City of Marion IN on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, and TikTok, as well as our website, cityofmarion.in.gov, and the latest communication feature, My Marion app, a free download through your Apple or your Google Play Store. So welcome back, guys. We're going to do our second icebreaker. What is a new thing or place in Marion that you have discovered that you just absolutely love?
Panna Donuts.
Oh, right. And it's a new place, too. Oh, boy. What's your favorite donut?
I like the caramel crunch.
Ooh, Shannon, that's awesome. That sounds really good. I did get to have one the other day because we had an employee that bought donuts for everyone. Okay, Matt, what is yours?
The Neon Moon.
Neon Moon.
It's new to me because I'd never really I'd never been there until we went to lunch here about a month or so ago, and I'm kind of hooked on it. So,
so what do you like to eat at Neon Moon?
They have a Neon Moon burger that is amazing. The double is more than anyone can eat. But they got great loaded nachos. Their tenderloin's really good. Haven't had their pizza yet.
Their pizza is delicious.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I could eat there just about every day.
Well, I think for me, my latest thing that I discovered is at Mama's Hometown Market right downtown. They're an old soda shop, and I had never even visited an old soda shop before. So they're like a traditional soda shop. So I decided to try one for the first time, and it's the vanilla coconut. Oh my goodness, it's so amazing. So it's like a nice little treat. And then across the street, Elevate Nutrition has those protein shakes.
Yes.
The Buckeye is amazing. I'm not a Buckeye fan, but I love that Buckeye shake, and it's definitely filling. So yeah, there's just a lot of like hidden gems. And yeah, Neon Moon, yeah, I've been out there. I haven't, I was watching some live music out there to support a buddy, but I haven't had their food yet. So I'll definitely have to go out and have some lunch. But yeah, thanks guys for indulging. And so we're going to get into our second half of the podcast. And I'd like to just talk about some things that you wish that the community knew that pertains to you and your job. Any misconceptions or anything that could help you out day to day.
The biggest one is, we get it every time we tow a car off someone's property, is you can't come onto my property. It's private property.
Oh.
We get that every time. And we're allowed to enter the property as long as we are pursuing a violation. So if we see a car that's parked in the grass, it's got expired tags, no tires, we can see it from the street, so therefore we have the right to enter that property or go into that yard and tag it. And the same as with towing it.
Yeah.
So that's a big problem that most of the public have.
So even though it's on their property,
Yes.
it's in violation of an
The city
existing
Yep.
ordinance. So that is very important to know. Shannon, can you think of anything else, or we can move on?
That's the main one there, is the public don't understand that.
So do you deal with the app? I don't want to cut you off. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, like, another one is the public, they don't understand, and I think we kind of went over it or touched base on it earlier, was once you get that orange sticker on your car,
Yep.
we're coming back. So you either need to correct the violation or we're going to tow you. And like he said earlier, we have 72 hours. We go either tow you in 72 hours or it might be a week. But we're going to come back. So please, if you get that orange sticker, fix the violation.
There's no exceptions.
No exceptions.
There are no special cases.
No special.
And we tried to make special exceptions, but it comes back to bite you because you can't do something for one person that you can't
for
do
another.
Oh, absolutely. When I've learned that in public service, you cannot. You have to be consistent across all, and because if the word gets out that you're playing favorites,
that's what everybody claims.
And they like a lot of favorites for a car that's been parked in their yard for the last 12 years. Mm-hmm. The tires are flat. The car doesn't run. But you've been working on this car and you're going to get it fixed. And it's like, you didn't have...
Same story every time, I bet.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's like, okay, like you have mold and algae growing on your window and your windshield wipers. The grass is 3 feet tall around the car. Like, you're not planning on fixing this. So
you can probably get the dust or whatever, cottonwood off of it.
Yeah. So just...
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's very helpful. I was going to ask you a follow-up question to something that had to do with your cleanups. What, in most cases, happens to those structures once they are cleaned out?
The properties itself?
Yes.
It's the property, the outside. We don't clean the inside of garages or houses.
We don't enter any structure.
Yeah, it's just the outside. So,
but it includes the. Does it include the porch or anything like that? If there's a lot of trash, I see sometimes that kind of thing.
Yeah, the front porch we'll take care of. But if they have like a garage, even if the garage door's open, we will not go inside the garage. And that's just how it's been since I've hired in. We will not enter a house as code enforcement for any reason.
I see. Okay.
Or like garages and stuff like that. So
that's okay. So it's still owned. Nothing's going to happen to the property. It's just the fact that you guys had to take care of business with whatever the overgrowth, the weeds.
Yeah, usually,
sometimes some tree work.
They send out the bill. If it's not paid within a certain amount of time, they'll put a lien on the property. Mm-hmm. So there's that whole process. But as far as like taking ownership or whatever, no.
Okay, you're getting rid of the trash.
Yeah, we get rid of the trash, and then after we do that, it's pretty much out of our hands. It goes to legal. Once they put a lien on the property, we're done with it. It's up to legal after that. So
is there anything that helps? So I was actually going to ask you, Shannon, because you deal with the app a lot. You're looking at the app. Is there anything that you want to share with the community that they might need to know regarding the work orders that you receive and how that works? How do you process them? Even though they are acknowledged, does that mean that the work is done? How does that go?
So what I would like the public to understand is if this house has trash in your neighborhood and you come in on the app, you put it in, we come out and check it. Mm-hmm. But it's a process that we have to follow, and it doesn't happen overnight. So if you put this trash violation in your neighborhood on the app this week, we're going to check it this week.
Okay, good.
You don't need to put it on next week. And
right.
then the week after, and the week after, simply because the process takes so long. It's not overnight. It's 10-day violation letter. Mm-hmm. Then if it's not cleaned up, we have to set for a court date. Then we have to wait to get the paperwork back. So we are on it once you put it on the app. Just give us time. Another good example is the overgrown lawns.
Okay.
Like Matt stated earlier, our inmate crews are doing up to 120 lawns a day. They can't fit you in this week. So give us a couple weeks or call in and speak to us before you continually put the same thing on the app. And then we're like running back and forth because we check so many things on the app. We might not remember we was out here last week. So now we're going out our way to check this again. And we're like, oh, we already been here.
Oh my.
We're on it. And it's in the process of getting taken care of.
So that is a very important thing to just know. The public doesn't understand it because it's a new thing.
Yes.
You know, it's the app is fairly new. And so, you know, when you're adding something to the app as an issue, you're thinking, okay, well, because I know that we were trying to respond to these issues within 48 hours, that is basically just to acknowledge it. And there are cases where, and this is never concerning your department, I don't believe, because your department is more court involved. But there are things that can be dealt with within 48 hours, and then it's closed out. And sometimes we're able to add a note to that person if they chose to be identified, and we can communicate with them. But in all cases, I would say with code enforcement, it's not getting resolved in 48 hours.
No, and our system is a lot faster than it used to be. Up until this year, a court case for a trash violation could take up to a year. So, and now we've got it down to at least getting before the judge within a month or so. So from the time you call or put an app or complaint on the app, it's going to be at least 2 months before we can really get in there to get anything done.
And then with the trash violations as getting into court, as Matt said, we can get in there within the month, we can get the order. But as Matt stated earlier, we're like 35 cleanups in now. Like we still have it. So we like to try to get the ones that are the worst. So we get a new court case. So today's Monday. If we get the judge to sign off on the order today, it's no guarantee we're going to get it cleaned up in the next month or two because we have cases ahead of that because we're getting cases every week.
Right.
Or
it doesn't slow
twice
down.
a month, or twice a month, I should say. So it may take a couple months to get to it, but I would love for the public to understand that we are on it. It just takes time. Be
Thank
patient.
you so much. Yeah, that's great. And you mentioned with the court process that it's better now. You said it could take up to a year.
Yeah.
But that has been a change fairly recently with Mayor Morell's administration.
Yes.
What exactly changed there that's helping you guys?
A while back, Jerry and Jason, the previous chief code enforcement officer, went up and shadowed Fort Wayne and kind of seen how their system went. And up there, they have a court date that's pretty much set aside, I think, just for code enforcement. So we've kind of tried to model ours into. It's a one and done court date kind of thing. You come in, guilty or not guilty, you explain your case, and then they rule and give us the order or say, whatever.
Is that all they focus on that day?
No, they still do their regular court, but they've made it to where on that first and third Monday we can schedule, because before we could only do like 4 cases a week.
That is,
and we were going
not enough at all.
We were going to court every week, so that's 16 cases a month. Well,
wow.
Now we can do up to 15.
Or so it's
per
court
day.
date.
Yeah, so it has helped speed things up a lot. So
that's great. That's really good. Is there anything else that has been changed that's helping you regarding either new ordinances or new technology?
The support
that's helping you.
Yes,
from the administration.
Absolutely.
They are backing us 120% on getting everything cleaned up around here, and that was definitely needed.
That's a big change.
Yes.
Big change.
Now that is a good segue to just, your department I don't know how I would do it personally, because I don't know if I take things too personal, or I just more so thrive in more of a positive environment every day. That's just how I roll, but that's how most people roll, really.
Yeah.
But the gratification that you guys get, what is it? Because I know that it's a never-ending cogwheel. It's a never-ending cycle for you. What helps you get that gratification every day? Or not every day, but every once in a while. What kind of gives you joy in this job?
Just seeing the city cleaned up. Perfect example. 2 weeks ago, was it? We cleaned up out there at the Splash House. The code enforcement officers and the inmate work crew. We cleaned up the hillside between the Cardinal Greenway and the Splash House.
Uh-huh.
The gratification I get from that is when I go down Adams Street and I look up there and it looks so much better, it gives me a little joy.
Wow. And you were a part of that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. And it takes a team. Yeah, and it is tangible. It's a lot of it is tangible, and you guys are just definitely, you're doing the dirty work, and with the citywide cleanups, your role is to help. We're kind of all hands on deck with these citywide cleanups. By the way, the next one coming up is July 19th.
Yeah, this weekend.
And we just had one on June 21st, and so we have these every month, and. You guys are in charge of just making sure that they live in Marion. You're looking at IDs. You're helping things just run smoothly.
Well, our job comes in before the cleanup even starts.
Okay, talk about that.
If we see, like, previous a week or two before our cleanups, if we go by a house and it's trashy, we pass out or put in mailboxes, put in doors, a flyer. Marion has a cleanup coming up.
Oh, great.
We give them opportunity. Do people take the opportunity?
That's right. I forgot you guys were...
9 times out of 10, most of them don't take that opportunity. But, so our jobs for the cleanup start prior to the cleanup, trying to get people to come in and bring things in.
You are seeing some people take advantage of that, though.
Oh, yes.
It's a percentage of people that takes advantage of it.
That is absolutely wonderful that you guys took the incentive to, grab a bunch of copies of our flyer every month just to help them, target these exact properties that are the nuisance and that are the eyesore.
Well, and that's a big, big part of making sure the mayor gets what he's after, and that's cleaning up the city.
That's right.
So we're doing our part to try and help that out, because it's not often you get someone that takes office that actually cares. So,
oh man,
we want to try and make sure that we can assist in any way possible. So,
well, I can't thank you enough for what you guys do. Your whole team. Keep up the awesome work, and I hope that you guys had a good time on the show. Is there anything else you wanted to cover before we go ahead and wrap up?
Just real quick on the app thing.
Yes.
It helps a lot. One, if you leave an email, you can be anonymous or whatever if you want. That's fine. But it helps if we have an email we can follow up with, and also submit pictures. You're able to submit a picture of whatever you're on there, complaining about. So it helps us a lot, for one, to see what we're going into before we get there. So if it's, a car in the yard that's been there, just snap a picture and submit it on the app. That way we know exactly which car you're talking about, because there may be 1 or 2 houses that have, vehicles or whatever, but we want to make sure that we'll get them all, but we want to make sure we get the one that's being complained about also.
Yeah. And as he said, the email, that is so important because of what I stated earlier about people reposting. If you would put your email on there to where we can get back a hold of you and tell you that we have taken care of this, that will ease your mind and keep you from having to repost things on the app that we have already handled.
Because a lot of the time people are being anonymous, do you think? Are you seeing a lot of that?
We get a lot of the anonymous.
Yes.
Okay.
And
so it does help.
And my
you can
understanding
still be
is-
anonymous.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh, you're fine.
You can still be anonymous and leave an email. You can go make a new email
True.
just so we can get back in touch with you. You don't have to actually leave your name. We don't need your name, but I would like to be able to reach back out to them and be like, hey, the process is starting to take place.
That's a good idea.
And I think that people are afraid that other people can see that they've complained, which I don't believe they can. I haven't checked the citizen side of the app. I haven't used it. I've just used our what they call it, the back door entry.
The back end, yeah.
So I don't think the general public can see people that have made complaints, and I think that's probably a big worry on their part because they don't want people to know that they've turned somebody in.
Right. Yeah. So as the app gets more used and we learn more, I'm sure that there are ways that we can improve things. So we'll definitely chat more about how to improve it. So don't be shy. Just ask me if there's anything that you think would help you, and then I can get with the IT guy and we can work that out. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
You guys have a great day.
You as well.
Thank you for tuning in to the How Marion Works podcast. Follow us on social media, listen on Apple, Spotify, and all other major podcast platforms. Episodes release every other Monday at 5 a.m., so follow us on your favorite platform and know when they launch. All shows are found at howmarionworks.com. So for Matt Moore and Shannon Fouse, I'm Layla Price Bodkin, and this is How Marion Works. We will catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to the How Marion Works podcast. We hope you'll join us next time.